Welcome back. This week a lot has happened regarding Brexit. If you want to get an outside view from a European about what happened and all the developments this week, you've come to the right channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the bell so you immediately will know when the next Brexit video is coming out. But now, let's start with the video. Jeremy Corbyn has sent a letter to other MPs this week regarding his plans about a vote of no confidence and that he wants to become the Prime Minister of a caretaker government afterwards. So far so good. But, as we know, there are a lot of problems with this proposal. First of all, immediately after that, Joe Swinton, the leader of the Lib Dems, said the Lib Dems won't vote for Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister, even not Prime Minister in a caretaker government. They do want a vote of no confidence, but they don't want Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister. They are suggesting that the father of the house or the mother of the house become a Prime Minister of a caretaker government. And there are more problems than that. First of all, for a vote of no confidence and for voting for a caretaker government in the 14 days they have after the vote of no confidence to form another government, Jeremy Corbyn will need not only the Lib Dems but all the other opposition parties and even a few members of the Tory party who don't agree with Boris Johnson's politics regarding Brexit. But as much as I know, no Tory, whatever the intentions towards Brexit are, will vote for Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister. And even worse, as far as I heard, there are even Labour MPs who would never vote for Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister, even not for a caretaker government. So, how does he think this is going to work? I don't know. He has ears, he knows what's going on. I don't know how much hope he can put in there to hope that a no deal would scare the people that much that they even would that even people who would never vote for him suddenly say, okay, now I do vote for you. Well, I personally don't see that coming. I don't expect Jeremy Corbyn to be the Prime Minister of a caretaker government, but we will have to wait and see now. By the way, I would like to know what you think. Do you think Jeremy Corbyn can succeed? I don't think so, but maybe some of you do think so. Perhaps there are some ideas why all those members of parliament who said they won't vote for him will vote for him. What's your opinion? At the same, not at the same time, but shortly before this, Boris Johnson had another live video where he made a live people's PMQs, where was one interesting part from my point of view this time. He made up a conspiracy theory that some MPs are collaborating with the EU to stop Brexit completely. From my personal view and from what I always learn about the EU and from our MEPs and what I can read here, that's a bit far-fetched. The EU, of course, never wanted Brexit. Most of the EU would have hoped that the referendum would have ended with a vote for Remain and so on. But they negotiated for 2 years. They negotiated a deal with the May government, and that's what they wanted them to pass the House of Commons. That didn't happen. Of course, the European Union would still like to have an outcome which is not no deal, but even if that happens, they are prepared for it, and I hear this everywhere. The EU is prepared for a no deal, and they will accept it if it happens. The second thing in Johnson's video, which was very interesting, is he finally said that he knows that the EU probably won't negotiate again. You have to add under his terms. We talked about this before. He put up a lot of terms for about negotiating with the EU, and they could never agree to this. We knew this, but finally Johnson has stated it on live television that he believes that. Then there was a lot of talk about a US trade deal this week again. I know that a lot of people say as soon as we got no deal Brexit, we immediately will have the talks to the US about a US-UK trade deal. One of Trump's advisors, Bolton, talked about this week again, and there were other mentionings that they just want to do it step by step so they can quickly have some deals already, but with all the discussions I hear from the UK, there obviously are problems, because the leader of the farmers in the US said farming products must be a part of the deal, otherwise it can't happen. And there was a much bigger problem this week regarding a US-UK trade deal. Nancy Pelosi, the majority leader of the House of Representatives, said the Democrats, and they have the majority in the House of Representatives and in the Congress, I guess, they will never agree to a UK-US trade deal if the Good Friday Agreement is breached. And after all we know now, and I'm just talking about the words as they are on the paper, a protected border between Northern Ireland and Ireland would be definitely a breach of the Good Friday Agreement. And in case of a no-deal Brexit, which is still the most probable outcome of the whole discussions at the moment, and what do we have? 76 days till the 31st of October? That's not much time for anything else. And so that's the most probable outcome. And in this case, the EU, and in this case in form of Ireland, and they will be bound to their treaties to do so, will have to protect the EU border to Northern Ireland. Obviously they won't build a wall, I said that before, but they will have personnel to do checks at the border and so on. There will be no free movement as it is now. And that, in the matter of the words of the Good Friday Agreement, would be a breach of it. And in this case, Nancy Pelosi said there will be no trade deal between the UK and the US. And so, what do you say about this? President Trump can't overrule Congress in this. If he wants this agreed, he can try it again by a decree, but the Congress then can overrule the president in this case, and it won't happen because it's a budget thing and so on. So another really difficult situation. If Nancy Pelosi doesn't change her mind, she is the majority leader of the Democrats, then a trade deal is in jeopardy. There were a lot of talks about ways the House of Commons can stop Boris Johnson from having his no-deal Brexit on the 31st of October. There are different varieties how it can be done. One of them, of course, is the no-confidence vote, which I talked about before, which is probably going to happen in September. But there were other ways too, in the power of Parliament. So, because of all these possibilities, today again, when I'm making this video, yesterday probably when I publish it, there was another video on YouTube about proroguing and about what John Bercow said a couple of months ago, and reinforced a bit this week in an interview by just answering a simple question with yes, that he wants to stop proroguing of Parliament. Although there was no talk about that Boris Johnson wants to prorogue Parliament. But if it's one of his last chances to do so, we can't rule anything out at the moment. But I don't see that happening. First of all, because it would involve the Queen, and from my personal view, we don't have a monarchy, but we have great respect for Her Majesty, and but she is unpolitical, and from my point of view, it should remain that way. And dragging Her Majesty into this matter would mean that she has to make a political statement by either allowing proroguing or blocking proroguing, and so I really don't see that coming. This topic came up this week again, okay, fine, but I don't think this will really happen, and I don't even think that this is one of the plans Boris Johnson has. If you have another opinion about this, just leave a comment. I'm quite curious about what you think about the possibility of proroguing the parliament. There were some smaller points this week. I saw some videos and read some things about Operation Kingfish. And there were obviously some leaked documents again about some plans of the government in case of a no-deal Brexit. Operation Kingfish obviously means that there's money prepared for companies that go broke in case of a no-deal Brexit. Companies that are quite healthy right now. So preparing for this means usually that they do expect this will happen, and you always hear about studies that are not published where a lot of a lot of quite tough outcomes are published, or even not published, but are part of the studies, and this seems to be one of them, that they are expecting, at least some studies are expecting, that now healthy companies will go down in case of a no-deal Brexit, and the government has prepared money for this. Interesting in this, I heard that the Chancellor of the Exchequer said this won't happen, there are no preparations, whatever, this is not a problem we will have to deal with. And on the other hand, I heard that Michael Gove said, that is true, we're making those preparations, we have the money, so don't worry. So it's another fun story that even inside the governments there are two different opinions, and probably one doesn't know what the other one is telling to the press. But it's not UK exclusive. We have this here a lot of times in the big parties, so don't worry. There was another theory, it's a little bit older but still valid, but I heard about this week and read about it. There was a theory about Sinn Fein. As most of you probably better know than me, is that Sinn Fein won 7 seats in the House of Commons, but they never took their seats, and there's no Sinn Fein member of parliament in the House of Commons, but these 7 seats do exist. Nobody's voting, sitting there at the moment, but they are there, and the theory I read about this week was that Sinn Fein could give up these 7 seats for a by-election, and together with other Remain parties could put up independent candidates who are pro-Remain but not member of any party, just for the task to get into Westminster, to vote against no deal and vote against Brexit, and give up their seats after either Brexit was successfully prohibited, or a no deal Brexit or any kind of Brexit had happened and there's no chance anymore to stop this. It's a theory I read about. It's the time gap for that is getting closer and closer, and soon will be closed, but still I found it intriguing because I never heard about this before, and I never thought about this before, although I knew that Sinn Fein had won seats. It's quite an interesting theory, and I would like to know from you about this. What do you think about this theory? Is that anything probable, anything you can ever imagine this could happen? I mean, they don't have much time anymore, that's the other part to do that, but it's still, at least on the paper, possible to do so. But what do you think? At the end, I just want to make one last comment on comments, because I forgot this in my last video. There were some comments before about that the parties in the House of Commons are the only ones who have a manifesto regarding the EU. There I just want to add, in the European elections, the German parties all did have manifestos for the European election. So it's not the case that only the parties in Westminster did have manifestos. I'm not very sure about all the European countries, but at least the parties in Germany, they all had manifestos for the European elections. They will look much different than, for example, the Tory manifesto, but still they were there. I just wanted to add this to complete this and to answer to some comments there. So this week was quite exciting, and I tried to keep the single parts a bit shorter because of this, so I didn't go into that much deep detail because there was a lot going on. But I hope you still enjoyed it. I just want to say at the end, I started a new series that's called German Politics Explained. The next episode is due on Tuesday, which is the second episode already. If you're interested in the German political system and its structures, just have a look. But until then, don't forget to give this video a like if you liked it. Leave a comment about the theories I quoted here and where I ask you about your opinion. And otherwise, I just say have a nice day and see you soon.